Hi, everyone. I know we had a long day, so I'm going to try to keep us down to an hour today. We do have Nancy DeNicola coming, so when I see her, I'll stop my part so that we can get her in. She's a mortgage rep that works with us with mortgages and helping our clients definitely get mortgages and that they're qualified. She's been around for a minute, and here she is, so we don't even have to wait because she's about to join us now. Hey, Nancy, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you
Pretty good.
today?
I'm doing very well. So, guys, Nancy DeNicola, she's been with our organization for probably what 5 years, around about.
I've been with Keller Williams since they opened in Hoboken.
Oh, okay, so a little bit longer. So she's
Yeah.
very familiar with mortgages and what we need for our buyers. So we're gonna let her speak and tell us about what she does for the next few minutes. Go ahead, Nancy.
Okay. Thank you, Karen, so much for inviting me. Hello to everyone who's on the call. If you haven't met me, yeah, I've been around a long time. When they opened Keller Williams in Hoboken, I was actually the preferred lender there, and then they moved it over to Jersey City. So I've been around a really long time. What I do is basically assist you any way that I can with not only getting a mortgage for your buyers. That's the easy part of my job, is making sure that your buyers get a mortgage, right? The harder part of my job, or where I can benefit you the most, is by assisting you make sure that you're not wasting your time with buyers who are not able to buy, ready to buy, or want to buy. So it's a big time waster. And you probably all know this. When you're working with a buyer who you think is really interested and you're showing them a bunch of places, and then you only find out that they have a really terrible credit score, or they're just looking around. They're looking to see what they have available as opposed to really being ready to buy. So where I can help you the most is when you have a buyer that says, hey, I'm interested, I want to see this apartment and that apartment. And I know that it's really tough to say to somebody, you need to get pre-approved. No one wants to hear that they're not qualified. No one wants to hear that they have to, we have to figure out if you could afford this. So the way you present it is, hey, listen, I have this mortgage person that I do a lot of business with. Why don't you give her a call, or you give her an email? Email is definitely the best way to reach. And say to them, she can run numbers to find out what's comfortable for you. And that is such a critical point in this conversation. Is what I do is make sure that the buyer is comfortable with what their monthly payment is, comfortable in a purchase price that they're going to be buying in. I'm not trying to convince people to buy at a level that they can't afford. So the reason why I bring that up is a lot of times people will walk up to you and say, hey, I could buy for $600,000, or I'm interested in $600,000 condo. And then I ask them, well, what's your comfortable monthly payment? $2,000. Well, we all know if you're buying a $600,000 condo, it's highly unlikely your mortgage payment is going to be $2,000 a month, unless you're putting a hell of a lot of money down. So that's where I come from. I come from a very different place. It's not about getting somebody a mortgage. I can do that. What I do to assist you is make sure your buyer is qualified and that you're looking at the right places, that you're looking at a purchase price that they can truly afford, and you're not overpriced, not showing them places that are out of their price range. Every buyer of mine gets a spreadsheet, and I'm not sure, I'm going to actually share my screen and show you. Let me pull up a spreadsheet really quickly, and I'm just going to show you an example of one. Let's see, trying to look for one that's a really good spreadsheet. I'm going to erase this person's name. Okay, so now let me go back to Zoom and share my screen. Okay. Can everyone see my screen? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay,
Yes.
This is where, and this is probably not a great example because it's, you know, the price points are not all over the place, but this is an example of what I will do for every one of your people that you send to me. If they say to me, I never tell someone you can't afford something, and you shouldn't either. The second you say that to them, they get upset and they want to walk away. Don't tell me I can't afford something, right? So is I ask them a couple of base questions. What purchase price range are you in? How much of a down payment do you have? What's a comfortable monthly payment? So using the example that I said before, and this happens daily, someone says, I'm looking to buy in about the $600,000 range because that's what I like, but my comfortable monthly payment is anywhere from $2,000 to $2,200. And I have $50,000 or $60,000 to put down. I put together this spreadsheet that shows them very clearly that buying at a $600,000 range or even in a $500,000 range, their monthly payment is not going to be $2,000 or $2,200. Once I send this to them, and normally what I will do is if they gave me that monthly payment, I would do another 3 options showing what price point does get them to that monthly payment. So now they come to the decision, oh, wow, this is maybe a little higher than what I wanted to spend. Or they say, okay, this is the price point I want. I'm going to have to get a gift in order to get a larger down payment so I can afford this property. So now this all makes sense because the buyer now decides where they need to buy, what they need to do, and now you're going to be showing properties that you know that they can buy, as opposed to showing properties that they're not going to be able to buy. So I'm going to stop there for a second and see if any of you have questions.
So if this is a condo, that monthly payment actually is going to be, and we use the lower one, $2,743, is going to be that plus the HOA or maintenance fee cost.
Correct, correct. That's why I said this happens to be a bad example, but I just to show an example of what I would do. You're absolutely right, Karen. I would have a condo column in here and I would throw in condo fees as well. And because I know the market so well, if someone says they're looking in Jersey City, Hoboken, Bayonne, North Bergen, I know the prices. I know the tax rates in towns or roughly what that's going to be. So I can usually put together a pretty good spreadsheet for someone starting. Now, I will also tell you, if you have a buyer that you say, listen, they're not comfortable calling you, but this is what they want to look at. You can send me the list of properties and I'll do this spreadsheet for you. And I will say Karen Sims client, date it for today, put in the information in the description. I would put the addresses of the properties that you're going to show them. So again, before you go show those properties, at least they know what the payment is going to be. And once they see that we're trying to be helpful, they're more likely to now go, oh, okay, let me call this person. Because it's not all about just doing the mortgage or getting their personal information. It's about making sure everyone's doing the right thing.
Nancy, would you suggest if we already have a property and we're doing an open house to have a breakdown of something like that with us? Is that
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I'll show you what I do. Let me share the screen on. I'm going to use this one. So again, let me just go to share my screen. So I don't know if you can see that really. So normally what I do for anyone who asks me, and this doesn't take very long. Let's see, okay. So what I would do is I would just put the address of the property and then I show, depending on the price point, I show different down payment options. So this price point was $589. So I did a 20, a 10, and a 5% down. So I know that it's hard to see and I apologize for that. Let's see if we could make this a little larger for the moment. Can we make this larger? It's not getting any larger, but Anyway, this would look better once you printed it out, obviously. So, but it would show you the taxes, it shows you HOA, it shows you mortgage insurance, and it shows you the different down payments so that people would know walking in, what is it going to cost me to buy this property? So I do this all day long, these little spreadsheets, this little spreadsheet so that it's just a nice leave behind at the property and people can walk away with it knowing that what it's going to cost. And this takes me all of 10 or 15 minutes to put together. Okay, any other questions on any of that?
So hi Nancy.
Hi Jen, how are you?
Hi, good. You miss me?
I get it. What's happening?
Nancy and I have been having a few fire drills, just my own personal shopping on weekends.
And it's so funny that one day we were on a call and I was emailing her on the side like, hey Jen, is that you? I didn't, because we've never met. We've just met on
I had a question. The sheet that you just showed us is awesome. Like, what a great tool and giveaway and showing somebody the reality of a house. Is that something we would put our name on as the salesperson?
Well, you can't put your name on that side because it's the mortgage option. But what a lot of people do, and I have multiple options, but what a lot of people do is, let's say you have your listing on one side and then on the other side, copy this page.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's a sheet of paper that has the listing on one side and the other side has the financing opportunities.
Oh, that's even better. Okay.
Yeah. So
awesome.
I do have a marketing sheet that we could both be on. The numbers, what happens there is we'll put like a picture of the property on the top and then the numbers in the middle. And it's not a bad sheet because it'll have both of us on there. But a lot of times the numbers come out too small because there's so much information on.
Okay.
So I can show you that example as well. I can email you a sample of that. So that's why I see a lot of people do it where their sheet is on one side is the listing and the other side would be my financing options.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Work with a lot of FHA products, VA products?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, FHA and I do a ton of FHA and a ton of 203K loans. So it's one thing that we specialize in is we have a whole department that all they do, they're located in Morristown. All they do is 203K. So what I do in a situation like that is I'm your main contact from the perspective of you would call me, I would get your buyer set up, but I put that loan into the hands of the person who's going to get it done 1, 2, 3.
That's good to know. I didn't realize you did the 203. Now a lot of mortgage reps want to get involved with this, so that's good to know.
Yeah, no, and the bottom line, as a matter of fact, I've done probably for people in Jersey City this year alone, probably 5. Last year, I probably did 15. So that's a lot if you think about it from a 203K perspective. And again, my goal is to make your buyer and you look good. So I don't care that I have to hand it off. I still get paid on something. It's like a referral fee, but it gets done. And I know it's going to be done right. It's going to be done well, and it's going to be done quickly. So
what about commercial loans? Do you handle that?
I do not. So I did in my career. I was a commercial lender, so I know a lot about commercial financing. I don't do it, but I can recommend. Okay. So commercial financing, the most important thing is every bank may do it, but similar to like FHA and 203K, certain banks have a sweet spot. So if you come with a multi-family, 5 to 7 family, I might recommend someone else versus a warehouse or a store, because every bank has a sweet spot, and commercial financing could be very tricky and takes very long. And that's why I got out of the business.
So when you refer it, are you referring it to someone else in Loan Depot, or are you referring it to someone outside of Loan Depot?
Outside of Loan Depot. I would only refer, I'd have nothing to do with it. I used to refer and stay involved and get referral fees, but like I said, it's not worth the time that it takes and the amount of work. It's just better for me to hands it off and make sure that you're happy. I don't need to be involved. Referral fees don't matter to me in a situation like that. It's more important to get the deal done for you. Any other questions? I'm going to talk about 1 or 2 more things if I have time.
Just one quick question. So a building, if somebody buys land and decides to build on it, that's considered commercial?
Well, that's interesting. So what would they be building on it?
Single home.
So in a situation like that, that's not commercial, that would be residential. However, you cannot finance land and then build. You have to own land free and clear before anyone will be able to give you a residential loan. I will tell you, it's probably one of the most hardest things to get done right now, just because of COVID, and because the banks don't like to lend to people who don't have experience building a home. So they would prefer you to go buy the home from a builder who's developing the home, as opposed to you buying land and doing the building yourself.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So when you say building yourself, even if you were hiring like Walters, who manages it right from plans to finish, that's still
Correct.
Building it yourself.
It's still considered building yourself, because you're buying the land and you're hiring someone to build that home.
Okay.
For you. If that person, this is the way a bank is going to look at it. If that person decides to walk away at any time because they just got busy, they got a bigger project, they got this, you're left with a half-finished product, and we loan you money on that.
Okay.
That's why they'd rather you go to a developer who's developing in a big area and you're buying that home that's developed on that land, as opposed to developing it on your own, which is what they would consider.
Okay, thank you.
Makes sense? You're welcome. Anytime.
That's nice, aha.
Yeah. One of the other things that I wanted to just talk about today is credit. So getting credit scores increased. I do that a lot for people. That's really important. As a matter of fact, Brenda just sent me a couple of people who need that help. Credit score, if you have really, really bad credit, it all depends on why you have bad credit. And I do evaluate that. So some people just are bad payers. Some people had a problem. Some people don't know how to get good credit score. So I could do a whole class on this, but I wanted to bring it up as something. I may actually teach a class on this so that you have some understanding. Or even when my son was going to college, I chose to get my son a credit card in his own name. Yes, the interest rate was higher. Yes, it was a secured card in the beginning. But I built my son's credit that way. I did not give him access to my credit card, because making him an authorized user, what does that do for him? I'm paying it. He's just a user of my card. Doesn't do anything. So there's little different bits of information that I would love to do a class on and show all of you or educate you all for the purpose of you having information just for your client. It doesn't have to come from me. It can come from you. Hey, guess what? Maybe you should. It connects you with your client a little better if you have little tidbits of information that help you and help you educate your client. And again, I'm happy to do that, but my goal is to help you connect with your client. So I am going to do a course on credit. I'm going to set that up, and hopefully you will all come. But if you have buyers who say, I cannot buy because I don't have good credit, you should say to them, you should just talk to my person. She might be able to help you. I tell them where to go to get their credit score, because using Credit Karma is not a FICO score. It does not give you the information that you need to make a good decision. I tell them where to go, which, by the way, is freecreditreport.com. That is the place to go. That mimics anything that I will see. freecreditreport.com. You join a trial membership for like $5. It's a 7-day trial membership. You can get such great information from that trial period. Then you cancel the trial so you're not charged. I could take that information, evaluate it for you, and help increase your credit score, and it doesn't cost you anything. So many people go and pay these companies large amounts of money to fix their credit, and it's not worth it in many cases. I'll give you an example. I had a woman who last year came to me and said, my partner totally screwed me over. My credit score is 520. She was crying hysterically on the phone. I'll never be able to buy. I said to her, no, you need to reestablish credit. Let me tell you what you need to do. I said, in 6 months, your credit score will be 680 to 700. She came back to me 6 months later. She is now a homeowner. She never thought she could be a homeowner. We got her credit score up to 720 in 6 months. So little things like that I could help you with. And, you know, I just wanted to point that out as another benefit that I can give to you all. If you have clients who want to buy, it just might not be their time. Maybe they can buy in 6 months from now.
I would love to give everybody that link when you set that class up, because yes, that would be something that I believe even for ourselves we might be interested in.
Yeah, it's a great service. I mean, as a matter of fact, Free Credit Report probably wants to kill me because I have everybody go sign up for the free, get the 7-day trial, and then cancel it a few days later because it's like $21 a month. But I did have a client, like I said, for 6 months, she kept it because it was worth it for her to watch that grow. And every month she called me, oh my God, it started at $520. And every month she was like, oh my God, it's $580. Oh my God, it's $620. She was so excited that when she finally bought a home, it was phenomenal. So anything else that I could help with today? I don't want to take up your time on this call. I just want to make sure that you know that I am here to support you, to support your clients and help in any way. The best way to reach me is via email. The reason why, not that I don't mind text, but I probably get 50 texts a day. And I'll be in the middle of somebody texting me and trying to read it. And then the phone call rings and I'm on the phone. And then all of a sudden another text and then I'm missing people. So
if you could put your email in the chat, that would be great. I just put the phone number in there.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll be happy to do that. Again, I don't mind text messages, but if I don't get back to you, I might have just missed it because of all the text messages coming in a day. It's like the busiest time we've ever seen. Anything that I can help with, drop me a note and say, hey, I'd like to learn this. I'd like to have a class on this. I'd like to do a one-on-one on this. Happy to do it. I love teaching, educating, and helping people. That's my, love doing mortgages. But like I said, that's the easy part of my job. It's really helping people that I get a lot of pleasure out of. And that's what I'm here to do for you.
Thank you so much, Nancy. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me, Karen. I really appreciate it. Anytime that you need me. Hi, Brenda.
Hi, Nancy. Thank you.
You all have a great day, and let me know if I can help again, and I'll let you know when I set up that class on credit. I'll make sure it goes out to everybody.
Thank
Yes,
you.
and I'll be there.
Okay, take care. Have a great one.
You too.
Bye-bye. All right, guys, so we're going to get started with our actual class for today, which is the rental package listing paperwork. I will start off by sharing my screen. And I don't want to assume that everybody know how to create a contact with command. So I'm going to start off with a contact so that you understand from the beginning how to start the process. We're going to add a contact. And y'all know my favorite one is Mickey Mouse. We're going to add his email, mickey123@gmail.com. Add a phone number. Add them as a lead. Add them to my sales pipeline. We're going to tag them as the landlord. Now, if the landlord is not in the tags, you might have to create one. I know it's in my tags because I put it there. You see I put it in red. And then we will hit create. Now we created a contact for our system. So when I go to do an actual opportunity and create an opportunity, we'll be able to create the opportunity using Mickey Mouse. So you go to your handshakes. Right behind you say create opportunity. It's a landlord. So even though you're doing a listing, it's a landlord listing. So you're going to select landlord. You're going to find your client, Mickey Mouse, as a landlord. Estimated closing date, we want to list it, and today's date is the 14th. So We're doing everything assuming we're getting the listing today. Going to list the amount that we're going to list the property for. Our commission again will be half of that. Half of 1950 would be what? Use an old-fashioned calculator. 975. We are at the appointment phase and scheduling, and we're going to hit create. Now, opportunity is created. You can edit your information. On this side is the general information. I'm sorry, guys, just 1 minute. That's our all company. Frank, can I call you back? I'm in a class right now. Okay. Go ahead. No, turn it off, please. Thank you. Okay, sorry about that. On the left-hand side, when we click the little pencil, we can edit any details that we need to edit, including time frames. Generally, a listing, if you're going to do it, you just do it within that month. Some of the information you may not need at that point in time. Some of it pertains to closing dates, lease dates. We don't have that yet. So don't worry about it if you don't have it. And we're going to just save our information by clicking the button here. On the right-hand side is the property. You're going to click the button right here, and you're going to add the property. So we are in the United States of America, and the address that we're going to use today is 134 Hutton Street. And then you'll see as I was typing, everything came up, the city, the state, county, zip, everything came up. I can hit save. Now this part of my transaction is completed. So from here, I go to documents to pull the documents that I need to get started. So you actually start a transaction, and you have the option to use DocuSign or .loop. I'm going to use DocuSign. And I'm going to go to the transaction. It's going to ask me for my passwords for DocuSign. And then it's going to put me in a room. So for DocuSign, you have rooms. For Loop, you have loops. On the left side, you have to put in all your details because it doesn't bring all your details over. You have your seller information. You have your listing agent information. If you're doing and sharing a listing, then you have 2 listing agents. You'll put the second listing agent. If not, you're just 1 listing agent. And we don't have to worry about the buyer information or the buyer agent because we're not at that point right now. We're just on the list side. On the on the left-hand side, and again, we have to hit the edit button in order to fill in anything. Now, once I fill in everything once on here for my details, every single paper that I need when I pull in the system is going to automatically put those dates or put the seller's name or the city, state, anything that I put in here is going to carry over from each of the pages. So I don't have to continuously put in things myself. Listing date will be the date that you're doing the listing. I'm assuming it's today. You'll put today. Rentals, I generally take only 3 months. You have the right to take 6 months, 9 months, a year, but the least amount that I will do on a rental is 3 months. Original listing amount, again, is going to be that $19.50 that you discussed with the owner. Current amount would be the $19.50. If you was relisting, then you would hit relist. This is not a relist. We don't have to worry about offer details because we don't have an offer yet. Highest and best pertains to if we're doing a buyer. So, well, you can't have a highest and best with rental. There has been multiple people who want the same property, but in this case, most of the time you're not using highest and best. Closing details, you don't have to worry about that yet because you're not closing it. Information, this side, half a commission, buy side, half a commission. There's no sales concession, so don't worry about that. Unless you're doing referral, you don't have to worry about the referral percentages. Property type, you don't have to worry about the taxes or anything like that for a rental. This is a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. Total number of rooms you count for rentals, you count the living room. If there's a dining room, the kitchen, and the bedrooms, that counts your rooms. You don't have to count the bathroom. So in this case, it has a living room, doesn't have a dining room, has the kitchen, and 3 rooms is 5 rooms. There's no garages, so you can always put 0 or none. Then that's that side of the transaction that you edited. Now we have to do the seller side of the information. How do we get the seller information? Most of the time, you're going to get the correct information from the tax records. Again, verify everything you do with the seller, because sometimes you might use a tax record. It might be 2 people on there, but 1 person might be deceased. So you don't want to use a name on there that's not there. So just verify with the owner before you go on appointment that such and such and such and such both will be present for signing the paperwork, correct? And they say, oh no, I'm sorry, such and such passed, so it's just myself. So in this case, we go into the tax records on the MLS. We're going to do a search by the street because we know the street, we know the county, we know the city. The street name is H for Hutton. And then you just look for Hutton Street. And then we know the number was 134. I'm sorry, I keep switching out from one side to the other. So 134 Hutton Street. You have 2 people, Marielle and Melvin. So Marielle Mercado and Melvin, actually I think it's, can't remember. All right, so yeah, Marielle is Mercado, Melvin is Guava. So you have 2 sellers on this one that you're gonna have to take the information and put it on your documents, on your details. So seller 1. And sometimes the tax records will have where they currently live, sometimes it won't. So if it has the address that you're doing, you know it's vacant, then you know don't use that address. Just leave it blank. In this case, it gave me their address. So I'm just going to copy and paste. City was Mawa. 074. I think you gotta go put United States in order for me to be able to get the city, state. Now it'll come up. And then that's seller number 1. Then we go back to the tax records and we pick up seller number 2. And this all can be done ahead of time. This way, if they, if you just going to preview the property, then you just sending them the email with the information for them to sign the paperwork. Or if you got to see them personally, because they may not have email, we have some older people that just don't do email, then you would just print everything and bring it with you. Either which way, you should do it ahead of time. No, not New Mexico, New Jersey. And then yourself. You can look in address book, type in your name, and select yourself. Because I have myself in so many times, I just have to double check that it put in all my information, because sometimes it doesn't. So you want to do the same thing just to make sure all your information is in there. And again, once you do this one time, you don't have to worry about keep on doing this each time you have this client or working with this paperwork. And you can always do practice sessions. This way it makes it easier for you when you are in a cram and you get that listing and nobody's around to help you, you have your practice session. So try to get in the habit of creating practice opportunities so that you'll be ready when the real deal comes. Now I'm going to save all my information. So all my details is now saved to the room. I don't have to worry about putting that information in again. The documents that you actually want, you're going to click on documents. You're going to hit add. You're going to go to DocuSign forms. At the top, you have two options. You can select from the library or from the group. If you select from the group, we have already put the documents that you pretty much need in your transaction. So you would just go to the rental transaction. You don't want the tenant. You want the Hudson County, unless you're doing a different county. But mostly we're working in Hudson County. You want the Hudson County rental listing packet. And then it's going to select for you everything that you would need for that rental. Now, the ones that didn't select is change the status form. If you have to change the form, then you add this into your loop. I must sign all the change the status forms. So if you do have to change something on it, make sure you get the seller signatures first. You sign it before you send it to me. This house is older, so we do need to protect your lead disclosure. Truth in renting. I suggest it's a long read, but a lot of information about renting you will find in here. So, you know, window guards. Do I need window guards? It'll tell you in this truth in renting if that property is, if there's children under 10 and it's above the first floor, yes, you do need window guards. It'll tell you if somebody break their lease, what do you need from it? So I do suggest you read the truth in renting, and when your clients have questions, send it to them because it eliminates you telling them what to do. Here's the book, here's the list of guidelines that they can go by. Lead base is built before 1978, so yes, we need the lead base. We're going to add all these documents to our room, and this is how it's going to look. So our job now, we're going to go through each and every one and see what is actually needed. I just wanted to bring you to this point of how to do it, but I'm going to actually go to my command of one that is already done and explain the paperwork, so I'm not filling in. As we going, we're just asking any questions you may have and going over the paperwork and what's needed to be signed. So on your command, you go back to your opportunities. You have tenant and you have landlord. So remember, we're working with the landlord this week. Here's all my landlords, and I'm looking for 134 Hutton Street. And I want the documents. I'm going to go to the transaction. And you'll see all my documentation. You see how I copied the tax record so that I always have the tax record as part of my room, so I can refer back to it without having to go through the MLS. And now an exclusive right to rent or lease agreement. This is a document that you're going to need for the Hudson MLS, giving you your agreement, your contract with the landlord to rent their property, to market their property for rent. On here, you're going to see I have the address, the city, the zip code, the block and the lot. And again, I got that block and lot off the tax records. So there's the block, there's the lot. The listing date, the date that you listed, and the date that it's going to expire. The brokerage, which is Keller Williams, City Life, JC Realty. The amount, $19.50. When they can possess or someone can live in the property, October 5th. So that means they can move in pretty much immediately. The compensation, sometimes the compensation is split between the tenant and the landlord. In this case, the landlord is paying a full month rent, or a full month broker fee, which is equivalent to 1 month rent for us. This is myself as a licensee. This is the name of our firm. I'm a landlord agent, and if the opportunity arises, I'm a disclosed dual agent. That means if the buyer, the tenant in this case, come through Keller Williams, I automatically become a disclosed dual agent. This is the wife's, nope, that's the husband's name, and that's the wife's name. So Melvin and Marielle. You see here, I didn't put their information there as far as their address. So if you have it, you can put it. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. You sign, you the broker representative. I don't sign as the broker. You sign as the representative of Keller Williams. The compensation, out of that $19.50, you give him 0.5, half of the $19.50 to the other agent or whoever brings the buyer, minus the MLS fee of $100. Now that MLS fee can be a little bit less. Generally standard is 100. I've seen where there's been 150, but this is on a rental part. On the sale part, is generally the average is 275 when you're doing a rental, a sale listing. 275, 300. But on a rental, it's 50, 75, 100. The most I've seen is 150, which is extreme on a rental. Any questions on this, Doc? Let's go to our next one. This is the property description. On the property description, you're pretty much telling about the property. The address, street, city, the cross streets, Central and Summit. Our listing office for the Hudson MLS is 1653. Every person has an individual salesperson number for each MLS that you belong to. Mine is 3046 for the Hudson MLS. No, I don't want to publish the owner's name or address. Lead, yes, it was before 1978, so I have to put lead there. Pets, no. And that's a question you got to ask the landlord. Are they good with pets or no? Yes or no. Credit check, always we want to do a credit check for the landlord. So that's going to be yes. For rent sign, again, some owners don't want a for rent sign or for sale sign on their property, so you should ask them. Remind them that this is 24 hours advertising for them. So when we're asleep, it's still being advertised by anybody that ride down the street. So you highly suggest a for rent sign. Lease, yes, they have to sign a lease. Compensation, SA. SA is sub-agent. It's not sales agent. Or it's not the seller's agent. We don't work as sub-agents, so that's always going to be 0. BA is a buyer agent, or in this case, a tenant agent. Same difference when it comes to the tenant BA. We work with tenant agents, so we're going to give them compensation of half the $19.50 minus that 100 MLS fee. TB, transaction broker. Yes, we work with the transaction broker. That's a person who does not represent the property, but represent a person, they just represent the property. So 0.5 to them minus 100. Again, these two numbers have to be the same. If I only gave him a 1/4% minus 100, the MLS is going to fine me. So whatever I give a buyer agent, I have to give the same amount to the transaction broker. Again, if we don't know the square footage, don't guess it, just don't put it. If there's a complex name, you can put it. This is on the first floor and it's apartment number 1, and then you see how I lined it up. First level, kitchen, living room, 3 bathrooms, 3 bedrooms, 1 full bathroom, and then the other. So I have to explain what that other is. In this case, is washer and dryer access in the basement with some storage. Paid by the landlord. Electric, no. Taxes, yes. Taxes are always paid by a landlord unless you're doing some type of commercial property. Air conditioning, no. Oil, no. Gas, no. Parking, no. Hot water, no. So the only thing that the landlord is paying in this column will be the taxes. If there's anything that's excluded, you have to put it. Included, generally on listings, you know, it's vacant. So there's nothing that's really going to be excluded. Items included, if it's a stove, dishwasher, refrigerator, you can always put it there, spell it out. But it's also down at the bottom, so there's no need to put it at the top and the bottom. Remarks, I have put 24-hour notice because I didn't have the keys. So I took that out on the real listing when I posted it. But at that point in time, when I brought her the paperwork, I didn't have the keys. So that's why I put 24-hour notice, because I know I was going to get the keys. 1-800-746-9464 is our showing time system. Everybody should have received their information and their password so that they know how to operate their showing time. You can actually change what you need to change as far as your instructions on showing time. And agents are able to, if they go to the property, they're actually able to schedule do showing time right from the MLS. There's a button right there. You can click it and schedule appointment. So when they schedule appointment through showing time, I'm automatically going to get an email saying Brenda is going to show this property at such and such a time. Then you do your description. Renovated a few years ago. You need a complete application, one with credit report, NTN ID, pay stubs, level of employment, current taxes, and bank statements emailed to you, the agent. In this case, it would be myself. Any questions, call me, the agent. In this case, if you're doing a listing, it would be your information. Then you're going to click all the details that apply to the listing. The showing, if the key was in the office or other. The building style, parking, if it's none, if it is, heating, AC, baseboard, appliances, dishwasher, refrigerator. Everybody have to provide a stove in the state of New Jersey, every landlord. Now, they're not obligated to provide a microwave, a refrigerator, a dishwasher. Those are all extras. The only thing that the state of New Jersey make us as landlords, or make landlords provide, is an operating stove. And that's the case when you're doing a buyer too. The lenders have to know that there's a stove in place. Amenities, this have hardwood floors, miscellaneous, if it's near shopping, bus, parks, schools, common amenities. That should be washing and dryer room, not elevator. So I'm not sure where my hands was clicking that day. Then the seller will sign. You also have advertising remarks for the public. Remember, you don't want to put anything about walking in your remarks because someone in a wheelchair cannot walk. So now you're discriminating. So welcome home to this first floor renovated unit in a 2-family home. 3 bedrooms, renovated bathroom, kitchen with stainless steel appliances, access to coin, washer, dryer, and backyard. So that was the other. Close to the bus stops, to Journal Square Path, and lines to New York City Port Authority, restaurants, and local businesses. And that's pretty much your paperwork that secures your listing that you're able to market on MLS. These are the 2 documents that you would need. Now you have other supporting documents. You have your lead paint disclosure that you would send them. You have your Attorney General memorandum for fair housing that you would send them. These aren't signature pages. It just shows that you sent it to them. Consumer information statement. Again, how are you working for them? In this case, you'll be a seller's agent. Again, seller agent, landlord. Same difference. And if the opportunity arises, you'll be a disclosed dual agent. They're going to sign as landlords. You see down here, it separates it, seller/landlord. So they signed. And then this one little spot right here, if you fail to put your name, Karen Sims, or if you're doing the paperwork, compliance will kick this document back. And then you need to check that you're working as a seller's agent and disclose dual agency if the opportunity arises. KW affiliated business disclosure. Now this one we are doing away with. It's still in our documents, but if you see it, if you don't see it, don't worry about it. It's going away because we don't have arrangement with Loan Depot, Guarantee Rate, or State Farm anymore. But you may see it. We only have a relationship with Gravity Title, so that's the only one that we have to worry about. But the affiliated business arrangement disclosure will be going away, so don't worry about that. The truth in renting, remember I told you it's a long read, but it's an informative read, and this way it helps you help your client. The lead-based paint hazardous. Any house built before 1978 has lead somewhere. So you want to make sure that they fill out, you're going to fill out the address because that's going to automatically come over. They're going to initial, seller has no knowledge, or they're going to initial, seller has the following reports. Now, sometimes the things, they don't have any reports. So sometimes you got to make sure they do the right one because I need to have them do this over. They just renovated and took everything out. So there's definitely no reports on lead. So I need to make sure that's done correctly. They sign, I sign, and your buyer or your tenant in this case will sign here. They will sign here, and you as the agent will sign here. This document has to be uploaded in your MLS, and you will see it in your documents where you upload it. And this way the other agent who's showing can go grab the document and submit it with their paperwork. Then we have our coronavirus, which is new as of March of this year. Pretty much this one states that if the tenant within 30 days after signing a lease or within signing a lease, if they have not moved in, that they can cancel this contract, get their money back, if for some reason their circumstances won't change within 30 days. So the seller, landlord in this case, is signing. Informed consent to dual agency. The landlord, just like the tenant, has to give permission that you can go out and find them a tenant. So they have to give you permission to look for a tenant as a disclosed dual agent. Your name, our company address going inside. You're going to sign as a salesperson. The landlord is signing there. It's just an acknowledgement that they know that we represent both the buyer, in this case the tenant, as well as them, the landlord. Landlord and tenant hold harmless, again, as of October 5th, at this property address. This is used when we're showing. There may be exceptions down here if the landlord is a fireman, policeman, work in the emergency department, a doctor, and a nurse. They may be exposed to COVID-19. They will hold us harmless, that they're not going to come back and sue myself, the seller, or KW. And then a tenant might have exceptions that they work in that same type of field. Again, this is for all tenants that show the property, that they're releasing myself, KW, the seller, of anything, if they should, of any suitcases should they catch coronavirus. This document is actually one that I upload in the MLS as a COVID-19 because they need to sign it and send it back. I see a lot of agents are making the showing agents sign ahead of time and actually get proof for their documents before they even release access to the property. However you do it, you just want to make sure that you have that back for your documents when you have showings. And our last document is the wire fraud notice. Again, we do not collect any money at KW with wires. As agents, we should not be giving any type of instructions to any of our clients with wires. There's a lot of fraud with wire transfers. So as an agent, you would never give that information. So you tell your client if they ever receive an email that says that you told them to send money here or there, you know, they know it's wrong, because as an agent, you sign the disclosure that I would never tell you that. This way it eliminates us as agents and our brokerage from being sued from any type of scams resulting in wire fraud. So another document that you must get signed by the landlords for your records. Again, once you get all your documents signed, you're able to go ahead and put on an MLS and start your showings. So this is the actual paperwork that's needed. Explanation, I suggest everybody do read it because if your client have a question and you have not read it, how are you going to be able to help them or try to help them? And you don't want to be, especially if you're face to face with your client, trying to help them at the last minute on something that you got to sit there and actually look in their face to try to read. Any questions?
Hey, Karen, I do have a quick question.
Go ahead, Matt.
Okay, I think I know the answer to it. It might seem like a silly question, but as a brand new agent, how do you acquire rental properties to list? Do you find them through the MLS and then contact the landlord and then go through this process that we just went over?
You can look for expireds on the MLS,
Okay.
but if it's active, you cannot contact them. If you're driving around in your neighborhood, I suggest taking different routes as you're going, because everybody will have those red and white signs in their window for rent. So you can call them and ask them if I can help you with this process. You might want to look on Craigslist for landlords. You want to definitely start with your own sphere of influence. Your family, your friends, ones who love and care about you.
Okay.
You want to ask them for referrals. But pretty much we don't do newspapers anymore, but 18 years ago, we was able to look in newspapers and find, which owners are looking to rent their properties.
Okay.
But yeah, those are a few ways that you can get landlords.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Not a stupid question, a great question.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hi, Karen. This is Joseph. I actually got a question. Can you reconfirm how much is the rental commission?
So it's 1 month. So if the listing is 2,000, then our commission is 2,000. Now
Right.
some people charge 15% or a month and a half, but our standard for New Jersey is 1 month.
Right.
But there's some programs that will pay out 15%. So if they pay out 15%, we will gladly accept 15%. And that's up
I
to year.
yeah. You mentioned something about broker's fee and sub agent. Like if the tenant is working with another agent,
All
you
right,
mentioned
so
something like
yeah, if it's two agents,
right.
you and Matt, then you're only going to get half of it. But if you're the listing agent, Matt is going to have to pay you 100 for the MLS fee. So you will get the 975 plus 100 for 1075. Matt, you'll get the 975 minus 100 for the 875. When you add the 875 and the 1075 together, that's your 1975, 1950.
Got it. So any just so any agent, like it don't matter like who the agent is, as long as you put out a rental and the person trying to rent the apartment has an agent, you have to share the commission with the other agent.
Correct. If you're using a multiple MLS system, the MLS, the Hudson County, and you sign those first two documents that we went over, which is the exclusive right to rent and the property description, those are MLS documents. If you sign and you're stating that you're giving permission for other agents to show the property, and out of the commission that is being collected, you're getting half minus your 100 plus your 100 fee. They're getting half minus the 100 fee.
Oh, got it. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. But remember, with KW, if you get a lead that come in from the front desk, John Carlos is going to call you and give you that lead, and we're going to make sure that that tenant is connected to you. So if you got a listing and you get a call from the office, don't ignore it. That's a lead, more than likely. Your listing, your lead. Any other questions? Everybody understand the paperwork? Let's go out there and get some landlords. And I just gave you 134 Hunting Street. You have my permission to market it on your social media and bring me a tenant. And guess what? You would get half of 1950 minus the $100 MLS fee. So let's make some money this week.
Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
Karen.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
You
You're
too.
welcome. Bye-bye.